corn syrup. Try not to get anything on the agitator. Sugar. And 1 quart of cream, heavy whipping cream. Start the cooker by pressing the cycle start button. You'll see a message that says cooking active, and then also an H in the lower right hand corner. Start the agitator by pressing the agitator button. And you also see an A indicating that the agitator's on. Activate the alarm by pressing the alarm button. You can only activate the alarm when the cycle has been started. I like to cook on a slight tilt whenever possible to aid in the mixing. So go ahead and lock the kettle in a tilted position to the first indent. To be sure that all the sugar has been dissolved before it starts to cook, I place the lid on the kettle. And when it starts to boil, the steam will melt away any sugar that may not have been dissolved. So while we are waiting for the kettle to come to a boil, go ahead and pour the remaining cream in the cream can. Drizzling your cream into fudges and caramels helps with the Maillard reaction, which is controlled scorching of the proteins and sugars. Be sure that the valve is closed. The cream can holds just underneath 2 quarts to the brim. Also, drizzling in the cold cream will help to keep the foaming down, so in return you can then make larger batches. So drizzle extremely slow. It should take 10 minutes or longer to add that 1 quart to the kettle. I wanted to mention one more time about the lid. Sugar that has not been dissolved is very bad if that sugar should get into your candy later on. It possibly could cause problems with premature sugar crystallization, which is not necessarily what you want in your candy. So putting the lid on and steaming it clean is a very important step. Sometimes a block of sugar gets stuck on the agitator, and it's important to scrape the agitator at least once. So, after the alarm sounds at 220 degrees, go ahead and remove the cover and start your drizzling of the cream. To silence the alarm, press the alarm button. Very important to drizzle the cream very slowly. So the cream's almost done. It's been about 10 minutes. And you notice it's gotten a little bit darker. Okay, so now that the cream can is finished, carefully remove it. There's always going to be a tiny bit left in there, so just plug it up and just dump it in. So now we can go ahead and add our butter. Now we just wait until our product temperature reaches its set point of 230 degrees Fahrenheit. If the candy is splashing out of the kettle, you can get an optional splash lid. It definitely helps when making larger batches. That's what this is. But since this is a smaller batch and it's not splashing, I'm not going to use it. So let me talk about the end of the cooking process. The tabletop cooker is equipped with a water flushing capability which helps stop the cooking so you do not burn the product. It is also beneficial to minimize overshooting your product temperature. So since it will take around a minute of flushing to stop the cooking process, I need to estimate how much time before I reach my final temperature I want to start flushing. The idea is that you start early, and by the time it stops cooking, roughly 1 minute, the candy will drift into its final product temperature. If you do this too early, you may never reach your product temperature. And too late, you can overshoot, meaning that you cooked it too high. You'll have a better idea what that time is the more you cook. So for fudge, I would like to start cooling 3/10 of a degree before my final cook temp. So I want to be notified when it's 3/10 before my product temperature. So go ahead and set your alarm for 235.7 degrees. 3/10 lower than 236. Press enter and activate the alarm by pressing the alarm button. So as you can see, it's much darker now. So as you can see, we're approaching our final product temperature set point. So once the alarm sounds, you will turn off the heat and press the water flush button. Do not turn off the agitator or you can scorch your product. Run the water for 45 seconds to a minute, or just enough so that you see that the boiling has ceased. The cooker will make a beep every 5 seconds. This is useful so that you do not forget that the water is turned on. If this annoys you, you can disable the beep on the advanced settings screen. So I overshot a little bit, but next time I will do half a degree before. So now that the cooking is stopped, we can go ahead and turn off the water flush. And now we can add our fondant. You're going to break up the fondant in small little pieces so that it'll melt quicker. You may want to just give it one stir to make sure that there's no fondant stuck on the beater. It's almost ready. So now that the fondant is melted, go ahead and add your flavors and walnuts. So now it's all mixed up, so let's go ahead and pour the batch. Stop the agitator in the back so you don't get candy all over the blades. So pour it into greased trays or onto a table. If you want to pour onto a table, we have a mobile stand that this cooker will attach to. So then it hovers over the table and you can pour directly onto it. Clean the kettle is very easy. Just fill it up with some hot water or water. Turn the kettle back on like you're cooking a batch, and you cook it clean. Put the cover on and let it steam itself. It takes about 15 minutes. Dump out the dirty water and wipe it clean. So turn on the agitator so we're scraping. Put the cover on. Now there won't be cold. Hi,
Missing parts
for the luggage or the factory testing. That too. I think you're gonna need more heat than 150, no?
oh, up to 160. So if your mom and dad come, I think your mom is going to be sitting at the seminar. So I gotta come up with new.
Oh yeah, almost there. No breaking or anything.
Nothing.
Okay.
Okay. You cut it?
Oh,